Hi guys, welcome back. Today I am reviewing Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. This is a debut YA fantasy novel. It's the beginning of a new series. I really liked this book. I gave it 4 stars, and tonight is actually the launch party for this book, so I will be going to that. Keep an eye out for a video coming soon where I will take you along with me to the launch party if you want to see that. But today I'm here to talk about Ash Princess, and this has been a very hyped book, and I want to talk about it. I think it's a good book. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a perfect book. Most books are not perfect, and I will get to that, but I want to talk about this one. So Ash Princess is about this girl named Theodosia, who was orphaned when these invaders came and took over her country. She saw her mother be murdered in front of her at 6 years old. She is now like 16 or 17 and has been raised in the court of this like really awful, brutal, evil dictator. She has been kept around mostly to try to keep her people in line. So anytime there's like a hint of rebellion, she gets punished for it. She's grown up having to sort of do whatever it takes to just survive, but now some things begin to change, and she has the opportunity to join the underground rebellion to try to finally free her people and save them. And so that's kind of what the story is about. And it was interesting because after I read this and wrote my review, I went and was looking at some of the other Goodreads reviews on this. One of the things that I saw some people saying was like, okay, we've seen this trope done before, like we got it. Princess has to overthrow the evil guy to take back her country, like it's been done. And yeah, okay, sure. It's been done before. You've seen the story before. But like, number one, there's a reason it's done so frequently. It's because we like it, right? Like there's something inspiring about that, about seeing a princess rise up and become the strong person that she was meant to be and defeat the evil villain and take back her country and save her people. And I think that that's something that a lot of us like. I like it. Number two, this book is hella dark, you guys. It's really good. I really liked it. It's a very Slytherin book, which is certainly right up my alley. Theodosia is very cunning. She kind of plays a role in court that she needs to survive, but she has a lot going on under the surface. There's a lot of intrigue in this book. It's also pretty dark. Like, there's a lot of violence. There is torture. There are references to sexual assault and rape in this book. I mean, like, it's pretty brutal. It's pretty dark, but it's really good. And so, you know, those are trigger warnings. There's also, like, racism, I would say, because that's part of the deal between her and the invaders. So be aware of that going in. And so if you don't really like those sorts of things, it may not be for you. But if, like me, you like your fantasy a little bit darker, you may want to check this one out. I am really excited to see where she takes the series. I like the character. I like the arc that we see her go through in book 1, and I'm really excited to see what happens in book 2, because if she's going where I think she's going, she's totally going to become my kind of heroine. She's a total badass. I really like her. As far as things that I was less enthralled with, number one is you do have a love triangle in here. And you definitely get some like insta-lovey things where her feelings, I felt, developed a little quicker. I didn't love that, but I am sort of withholding judgment for the moment because I am curious to see where she takes it in book 2. Like, not enough has happened for me to be sure yet how exactly I feel about this love triangle and how I feel about the romance elements of it, because it's a little complicated. Like I said, the whole plot is like cunning and devious and whatever, so it's not super straightforward, and I still think it could be done really well. Her feelings, I do think, developed a little bit faster than I am comfortable with, but again, I'm kind of withholding judgment until book 2 to see where it goes. I do like the world. I wish we got more world building. I know based on the map that we get in the beginning of the book and based on a few things that happen that there's definitely a world beyond what we see here. And I'm hoping in book 2, based on how the book ends, I'm thinking in book 2 we're probably going to get to see more of that world, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. I wish that we had had a little more of the world building in this book, but you know, like, you can also go too heavy and then people don't like it, so I kind of get where it's coming from, but I think it's interesting. I think the magic system is pretty interesting, and I will talk about that in a minute because that actually ties into maybe one of my favorite things about this book. The other thing I really like about this is that you do have a lot of fairly fleshed out side characters, including some ones that will surprise you later on in the book. I really liked some of the side characters. I think they're developed in pretty interesting ways, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of them later on in the series. The only other real complaint I had was that the pacing sometimes felt a little bit off to me. I felt like the middle of the book kind of dragged for me a little bit. I wanted it to be a little bit faster paced or have more surprising sort of twists and turns throughout the book. You do get some twists at the end that I wasn't totally expecting, but the middle of the book, like, it's a little bit slower paced. You don't get a lot of surprising things happening. Like, pretty much everything that happened in the middle of the book was I thought fairly predictable. So that I felt like could have been improved upon. But overall, I thought it was a really strong debut novel. I'm excited to see where she takes the series, and I really liked it. Getting back to the magic system, and the thing that I think stood out to me the most about this book that I want to talk about. This is, I think, not really spoilery. It's pretty minor, but if you're like super careful about spoilers, you may want to stop watching, but I don't think it's really going to spoil very much for you. So in this world, their magic system is closely tied to their religion, which is pretty interesting. It is an elemental religion. They have a pantheon of elemental gods that they worship. And in the book, there are these gemstones that are different colors, and each color correlates to one of their major elemental gods. And this is where the magic system comes in. Prior to the invasion, very devout people would go into these mines where the gemstones were found and spend years there training and being around the gemstones and like trying to connect with the gods. And some of those people would go crazy, but others of them would eventually be given power where they're able to channel magical abilities through these gemstones. And so that's where the magic system comes in. Now, the invaders come in, and part of what they do that's so terrible is that they start mining these sacred gems and using them as really expensive jewelry, essentially, with very slight magical abilities. The invaders are not able to channel a lot of magic through them. Instead, it'll be something like one color might make them slightly more beautiful, another color might make them a little bit stronger, but it doesn't have a significant impact, and it's something that's considered very sacrilegious. So that I thought was pretty interesting, the way that those dynamics happened. But this leads into the thing that just really stood out to me in this book that I thought was beautifully done, that I don't think I've seen done in YA before, certainly not in YA fantasy. I don't think I've ever seen this done before, and I just really connected with it. So there is a side character in the book who, I guess I should say as well with this, that the invaders enslave the Theodosia's people and force them to work in the mines. A lot of them end up going crazy, including children. So there's like slavery and stuff in this book as well, which is a thing, and it's related to like racial identity. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and it's done very well, I think. I really liked how it was done. But there is a side character in the book who had been forced to work in the mines and then ended up exhibiting these abilities to use these stones as a result. And so there's this conversation that happens that I think was really interesting, where she says that, like, even though she has these magical abilities, she doesn't believe it's the gods who gave them to her. She believes that it's just some biological thing where some people are biologically able to use the gemstones and use the magic and others aren't. And she says, like, she doesn't believe the gods exist, because if they existed, how could they let this happen to their people? How could they let them be enslaved and be killed like this and not do anything to stop it? And if the gods do exist, and that's the way they are, that she wants nothing to do with them. Which, wow, first of all, like, I thought that was pretty amazing. There's another character in here who's kind of the opposite, where going through what they've gone through has only strengthened his faith and his belief in their religion, and he believes that the gods want to help, but they're unable to intervene directly, and so they give them these magical abilities so that they can help themselves and help free themselves. So I thought this was a really interesting contrast. And then you get Theodosia thrown into this, and she's kind of in the middle. She's not sure. She's questioning her faith, and she ultimately comes to some conclusions, although I think it's going to be a thread that continues throughout the book. But you really get this kind of nuanced discussion of, like, the problem of pain and suffering in the world with belief in God and religious belief. And while in this, obviously, it's like a religion with a pantheon, and most of what we see is not that, it's a little bit different, but I think it really closely correlates to things that people really struggle with. Like, it's something I certainly resonated with and identified with. Like, I am a person of faith, I'm a Christian, that's important to me, but I've definitely understand struggling with, like, how do you understand God and the role of faith and God in the world when there's so much pain and suffering and awful things happening to people? How do you deal with that? And so anyway, I was just really impressed that she put that in this book. I thought it was beautifully done. I thought it was very thought-provoking. I thought it was very nuanced, and I appreciated seeing it in there. It's not something that I've really seen done before or seen done so well, and I'm curious to also see where that goes. So that was one of the things that it just really struck me about Ash Princess as I was reading it. And, you know, it's kind of a more minor thread in a lot of ways. It's not what the book is about, but it was something that I thought was really important and really beautifully done. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Ash Princess. I do recommend it. Like I said, it's not perfect, but I think it's a really strong debut novel. I'm excited to see where the series goes. Like I said, I will be going to the launch party tonight, which I'm really excited to get this signed and take you along with me and film all of that so you can see it as well. Talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on anything I said. If you guys have read this, your opinions on the book, I would love to chat with you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to see more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.